What's up, guys? Welcome to the line change. And in this video, we're going to be talking about Thatcher Demko. Yes, not a subject we've really talked about a whole lot during this offseason. We may have talked about him briefly, but there is increasing talk about Thatcher Demko and the possibility of trading him this offseason. Concern behind, his health and whether or not the Canucks should move off of Demko with with them having Kevin Lankinen now, locked up long term, and also the way that Archer Silovs has been playing in these AHL playoffs, and as well as the fact that Archer Silovs this upcoming, next season, is no longer waiver exempt. So the Canucks, if they were to call up Silovs, and then if they were to send him down, he would have to go through waivers, and the team would most likely maybe snag him. And that is something that the Canucks do not want. So that puts them in a bit of a bind when it comes to Thatcher Demko. So in this video, we're going to be going over, basically just asking what is Thatcher Demko's maximum trade value this offseason? And, is there any value at all? Or rather, what is the maximum value that they can get from a Thatcher Demko trade? Excuse me. So we're going to go over an article from our friends at Canucks Army. This one is by Stefan Roget. It's from a couple days ago, but I saw it and I was like, this is a good topic to talk about. So let's go ahead and dive right into it. There once was a time when the Vancouver Canucks seemed to be forever on the hunt for a quality goaltender. Most referred to those as the Dan Cloutier days. But ever since then, the issue has almost always been that of too many quality goaltenders, and that may be the case yet again as of the 2025 offseason. In short, the situation is this. The Canucks need to either be prepared to carry all three of Thatcher Demko, Kevin Lankinen, and Archer Silovs on their roster next season, or be prepared to make a difficult decision on one of them this summer. Lankinen was, of course, just extended on a 5-year, $4.5 million AAV contract that includes a full no-movement clause in the first 2 years. He's not going anywhere. Silovs, meanwhile, has brought the Abbotsford Canucks to the Calder Cup Finals with an MVP-worthy performance, solidifying himself as a summer month specialist. More relevant to this discussion, however, is the fact that Silovs will run out of waiver exemption time as of July 1st, 2025, just like we mentioned. That means that he's either playing in the NHL next season or being exposed to waivers, where he could be snatched up by another team, which brings us to Demko. The goaltender that seems by far the most likely to be traded. Demko is entering the last year of a $5 million AAV contract that notably contains no trade protection clauses of any kind. And if Demko is going to be dealt, the obvious question left to ask is that of who might want to trade for him and what they might be willing to give up in return. Let's talk about Demko himself, the player. Demko's most recent season doesn't exactly make him look like a prize catch. He missed massive swaths of the 24-25 season with various injuries, including an ongoing ailment to his popliteus muscle that will reportedly never fully rebound. In the end, Demko played just 23 games for the Canucks last season with a record of 10-8-3, a goals against average of 2.90, and a save percentage of .889. Pick a statistical category, any category, and you're likely to find among the worst results in Demko's 8-year NHL career. But with all that being said, Demko is just 1 year removed from a Vezina-nominated performance in 2023-24, in which he had a record of 35-14-2, a goals against average of 2.45, and a save percentage of .918. Even better, that year's Demko achieved some 22 goals saved above expected, according to Money Puck, the best such result of any goalie in the league that year, save for Vezina winner Connor Hellebuyck. Where exactly Demko's value lies as a player depends on which version of Demko one believes he'll be closest to when he returns to play in 2025-26. But NHL GMs do have a reputation of having long memories that are occasionally slow to update So we'd bet on at least a few of them being able to convince themselves he's still the Demko of a year ago, whether that's actually true or not. Now let's take a look at what the market is. Nothing speaks more strongly to Demko's current value than the state of the goaltending market around him. If we were to take a casual swing at which teams might be looking for a new or upgraded starting goalie this offseason, we'd wind up with a list that includes the Buffalo Sabres, Carolina Hurricanes, Chicago Blackhawks, Colorado Avalanche, Columbus Blue Jackets, Detroit Red Wings, the Edmonton Oilers, Philadelphia Flyers, Pittsburgh Penguins, and the Utah Mammoth. Other teams could enter that picture if they can manage to shift a current goalie to one of the teams looking. That's already a third of the league on the lookout. And what does that third of the league have to choose from? Not much, as it turns out. The list of top UFA goalies includes Jake Allen, Ville Husso, Vitek Vanacek, Alexander Georgiev, Dan Vladar, Ilya Samsonov, and Anton Forsberg. It's arguable that there's not a genuine starting goaltender in the bunch. It's borderline inarguable that Demko wouldn't represent a significantly better option for any team with any hope of competing, even with all of his injury history considered. If we flip our lens over to those goalies who might be traded this offseason, like Demko, we find an even shorter list. We've got maybe one big name in Anaheim's John Gibson, who has just as many, if not more, questions about injuries and consistent performance as Demko. And that's about it. Stuart Skinner, Carol Vejmelka, Joel Hofer, Linus Ullmark, or Cam Talbot could move. Maybe a team might value the consistency of someone like Vejmelka or Talbot, or the youth of Hofer over what Demko brings. But not every team, and in any case, there are still far more teams looking for good goalies than the amount of good goalies available. There's an argument to be made that Demko is the best goalie available to be acquired this offseason. If we're talking solely about a goalie for the 2025-26 season, that argument becomes ironclad. Being the top goalie available on a market this thirsty must mean that some meaningful trade return is possible for the Canucks. But what would it be? Speaking of that, let's take a look at the potential return. Looking for comparables can be tough as goalie trades are relatively rare and don't wind up setting much of a precedent for each other due to their infrequency. Last year, the biggest goalie-related trade involved Yaroslav Askarov going to the San Jose Sharks for a first-round pick, a recent first-round selection, and a minor league goalie. But Askarov's youth makes him a very poor comparable for Demko. We could look at the previous summer's trade of Logan Thompson to Washington in exchange for 2 third-round picks and worry about what that says about Demko's value, especially given how Thompson has starred for the Capitals ever since and has actually gone on to re-sign with the Capitals. But there was some off-ice drama at play there, and that created a situation where Vegas was looking to ditch Thompson, allowing Washington to swoop in and snatch him for a bargain price. One has to hope Demko retains more value than a couple mid-round picks. Demko's old crease partner, Jacob Markstrom, went from Calgary to New Jersey last summer for a first-round pick and Kevin Ball. It's a heavy return, and it came with Markstrom only having 2 years left on his contract, not far off from Demko's 1 year. Markstrom's value was juiced a little bit by Calgary retaining a third of his contract, but that might not be necessary with Demko only clocking in at $5 million. Markstrom doesn't share the same level of injury concerns as Demko, and that increases his value. But this trade at least puts Demko in the ballpark of a return that could include a first-round pick, which is definitely what many would be hoping for. The best comparable we can offer is a trade that happened 4 summers ago in July of 2021. That trade sent Darcy Kemper from the Arizona Coyotes to the Colorado Avalanche in exchange for a first-round pick, a conditional third-round pick, and Connor Timmins. There are a lot of parallels here. Kemper was coming off a season in which multiple lower body injuries limited him to 27 games for the Coyotes. On top of that, Kemper was a pending UFA, just as Demko is now. Those two factors should have conspired to limit Kemper's trade value, but they didn't. The Colorado Avalanche still identified him as their best chance at winning a Stanley Cup in 2022, and paid accordingly. And they were right. Kemper won the cup for Colorado and then signed in Washington as a free agent the following summer. Like we said, these trades are so few and far between that they don't necessarily lay down any precedent for one another. But at least with this comparable, we see that there is a chance that a team could put together a sizable package in exchange for a goalie that has injury concerns and a dwindling contract, sure, but one that also gives them a concrete chance to win. Demko is the only goalie who fits this mold this offseason. There is hope. That means that a first-round pick is indeed a fair starting point in any Demko-related trade discussions, or perhaps a more NHL-ready prospect of equivalent value if that's what the Canucks prefer. And who knows, maybe even a little bit more on top of that. So that is the article. This intrigues me. The possibility of maybe Demko going for a first-round pick. But the Canucks already, blatantly obvious that they are going to be moving their first-round pick this offseason. And if they were to get another first-round pick, depending on where it is, could they maybe even flip that for something to bolster their forward group? But let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think about this and what you think about this article. Do you guys think that, Demko could potentially be moved this offseason? And what do you guys think his maximum trade value will actually be? Do you guys agree with this article and its comparison to the Darcy Kuemper trade from 4 summers ago? Could it be that level of trade for the Canucks? Let me know in the comment section down below. And also, just because I completely forgot to do this at the start, I want to give a big thank you and big shout out to my primary sponsor of this channel, this video. This video is sponsored, of course, by Gassy Jack Art. Gassy Jack Art produces hockey prints on archival paper and canvas that have been rated to last over 100 years. Their product range features a variety of players from different teams, including the Edmonton Oilers, Montreal Canadiens, Toronto Maple Leafs, Calgary Flames, Colorado Avalanche, and your Vancouver Canucks, as well as more. They also have more than just hockey prints. They have non-hockey related prints. They have some wrestling pics, some baseball ones, some movie ones as well. So go ahead and check them out. GassyJackArt.com is the website. You can also find Jack on Instagram at GassyJackArt. Right now, they have a end of season sale going on where you can buy 2 prints, and prints are usually $20 to $25, depending on which ones you choose. Like, for example, that Quinn Hughes one that you see in the picture, that one is $25, and the rest are $20. So basically, if you add 2 prints to your cart, you can add an additional 2 prints to your cart, and those 2 additional prints will be for free. So you're only paying for the first 2. So you're basically paying $40 for 4 prints at, $20 a piece. Normally you would be paying probably about almost maybe $80 for 4. Instead, you're only paying $40. And I think that is a steal of a deal. So go ahead, check them out, GassyJackArt.com. Trust me, these prints are so detailed and so incredible, especially up close. Definitely check them out, GassyJackArt.com. You're not going to regret it. But that's going to do it for this video. As always, if you like this video, go ahead and hit that like button. If you want to stay up to date on all your Canucks content, whether that's Abbotsford Canucks or the Vancouver Canucks, be sure to smash that subscribe button and turn on your notifications so you don't miss a single video. You can find us on social media. You can find us on Facebook. Just search The Line Change to find our Facebook page. You can find us on Instagram at The Line Change. You can find us on X at Line Change UN. You can find us on TikTok at the.line.change.po. And of course, feel free to give us a follow on all of our social media platforms. If you prefer an audio version of this podcast, you can find us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. on Spotify, once again, feel free to give us a follow as well as rate and review us. But that's going to do it for this video. As I mentioned, I'll leave a link to the article in the description down below. You guys can check it out yourselves, give it a read. And as always, let's go Canucks, and I'll see you guys in the next video.